All right, let's talk about what really drives the financial markets. We spend so much time looking at charts and fundamentals, but what if the most powerful force isn't on any spreadsheet? What if it's right inside our own heads? Today, we're diving into the psychology of the market to figure out who's really in control. You know, this quote from economist Claire Barad just hits the nail on the head. Think about it. When you hear the words market crash, you don't picture a bunch of people calmly analyzing data, do you? No way. You picture a crowd, a panicked herd. And it turns out that's not just a metaphor. It's actually a pretty accurate way to think about how markets behave.
So let's really run with that idea for a minute. What if the market isn't just a simple sum of millions of individual choices? What if, under the right or wrong conditions, it actually morphs into a single collective entity, a giant emotional crowd with a mind of its own?
To get our heads around this, we've got to zoom out first. We need to stop looking at the individual trader and start looking at the psychology of the entire collective. And this brings us to this really fascinating idea of a psychological crowd. It's not about people physically standing together. It's a shared mental state. During those crazy market swings, our individual logic can get totally swept away. Emotions spread like wildfire, everyone starts following everyone else, and suddenly you've got this group mind that's acting on pure impulse. Okay, so if the market can turn into this massive, emotional crowd, what does that say about us? The individuals inside of it. Well, to understand that, we have to zoom right back in and look at the wiring inside our own brains that makes it all possible. The truth is, that huge battle we see in the market between chaos and order, well, it's just a giant reflection of a battle that's happening inside our own heads every single day. And this is where the amazing work of psychologist Daniel Kahneman comes in, with his idea of our two different systems of thinking. Think of it like this. We're all running on two different operating systems. You've got system one, which is your crowd brain. It's your gut reaction. It's fast, it's automatic, it's emotional. Then you've got system two, your analytical brain. This one is the complete opposite. It's slow, it takes a ton of effort, and it's logical. It's the part of you that actually sits down to think things through. And here is the crucial piece of the puzzle. That big, emotional market crowd, it's running almost entirely on system one. It's just thousands of individual gut reactions, all amplified and feeding off of each other. It's driven by mental shortcuts, feelings, and impulses. Our logical system, too, just gets shoved aside. And that's exactly why markets can feel so completely irrational at times. Because, well, in those moments, they are. But listen, this isn't just some abstract theory. Let's make this real. Let's look at a case study of a trader who's fighting this exact battle between their two brains in the real world. So we found this incredible post on Reddit. It's from a trader who, after a long struggle, had finally figured out how to be consistently profitable. But here's the twist. As soon as he started winning, a whole new problem popped up. He couldn't stop trading and started giving all his hard-earned profits right back. It's a perfect example of that inner struggle. And one of the biggest psychological villains in his story is something called overconfidence bias. What happens is, after you have a few wins, your emotional system one starts telling you you're a genius that you can't possibly lose. It makes you totally overestimate your own skill and, even worse, completely underestimate the risk you're taking. I mean, this quote from the trader says it all. This is overconfidence in a nutshell. The logical goal, securing his $1,000 profit, gets completely hijacked by that emotional, system one craving for more. His recent wins created a totally warped sense of what was likely to happen next. And man, that feeling is powerful. It creates this intense tunnel vision. All our trader can see is that next goal, getting to $1,500 a day. The much bigger, long-term risk of blowing up his account, it just completely disappears from view. He's blinded by the short-term goal. And look, overconfidence is really just the tip of the iceberg. Our brains come preloaded with dozens of these little mental glitches. You've got availability bias, which makes us put way too much importance on recent events, like our trader's recent wins. Or self-attribution bias, which makes us take all the credit for our successes but blame losses on bad luck. Each one is a little bug in our System 1 software, pulling us away from a smart decision. And the result of all these biases is this incredibly raw human feeling of being completely out of control. This quote is just so powerful because it's that moment you realize your impulsive brain has grabbed the steering wheel and your analytical brain is just along for the ride. The whole system has been hijacked.
So that's the problem. It's kind of scary, right? But the good news is we are not helpless here. So what can we actually do about it? How do we fight back against our own worst instincts? Well, in this last section, we're going to look at some tools for taking back control.
The solution isn't trying to get rid of your system one. You can't. It's hardwired. The real key is to build rules and habits that force your slow, logical system two to wake up and get involved. It's all about shifting from reacting emotionally to acting deliberately based on a plan you made when you were calm and rational.
This framework here gives us a fantastic roadmap for building that kind of discipline. And notice what's right there at the very top of the list: trader psychology and discipline. That is not an accident. Everything else, your knowledge, your risk management, your strategy, they're all just tools that your analytical brain uses to keep your emotional brain from wrecking the whole operation. And that's what a trading plan is really for. It's so much more than just a set of rules for making money. Think of it as a shield. It's a contract that your rational System 2 self writes down to protect you from the inevitable moment when your emotional System 1 self tries to take over in the heat of battle.
So, in the end, the market is really just a giant mirror. It reflects our collective mind back at us. All our fears, all our greed, all our biases. It reflects that constant internal battle between impulse and analysis. And the question that leaves us with is this: when you look into that mirror, are you controlling your reflection, or is it controlling you?